At 6 p.m., we introduce you to Dr. Kevin Lean, the former South Dakota principal who survived a shooting at Harrisburg High School back in 2015. On September 30th of that year, 16-year-old Mason Buell arrived at Harrisburg High School armed with a gun, 50 bullets, and a plan to kill Dr. Kevin Lean. He tried to shoot Lean in the head, but the gun malfunctioned. Buell then shot Lean in the arm. Lean did survive, and Buell was stopped before anyone else was hurt. But instead of pushing for punishment, Lean stood in court as the student's advocate, calling for treatment over prison time. Now, a decade later, Lean has taken that mission beyond his school, pushing for changes to education and mental health awareness nationwide. Lean is now an educator at Wayne State University in Nebraska. KTIV's Kaylee Doms continues our coverage with the next chapter of his story.
It's an organization no principal ever wants to be a part of.
Every time there's a school tragedy, I'm a member of what's called the Principal Recovery Network.
Made up of school principals who have survived shootings in their own buildings. Helping principals in the immediate aftermath of a gun violence tragedy in their building. Offering first-hand guidance.
My situation pales in comparison to Sandy Hook or Parkland or Alberta, Texas. I mean, some of those things that have happened. Sometimes I sit around that table and I feel like I don't belong because those people experienced such incredible tragedies where people died.
Most recently, Lean went to Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis after a gunman opened fire, killing 2 children and injuring 17 others in August of 2025.
So then I provide any assistance that the community may need, first with the school and then the community. And in that case, the Iowa Education Association called me in to try to assist in some ways.
His mission reaches far beyond the region. He frequently travels to the White House, where he advocates for expanded mental health resources with the nation's top officials.
I had a conversation 7 years ago with Senator Thune about mental health being more cyber available. And now throughout the state of South Dakota, it's completely available.
He believes that change lies in the hands of educators and begins in the classroom.
Personalizing and individualizing how we deliver education, wanting to make sure that every learner who comes through that door every day feels hope.
A decade later, Lean is still pushing forward with no plans of slowing down anytime soon.
I think it's just been a growth and maybe trying to throw a bigger pebble into the pool so that the waves, do something before I'm done.
Today, Dr. Kevin Lean continues his work advocating for change in the nation's capital, supporting educators in local classrooms and testifying in Siouxland courtrooms. For him, every tragedy, every challenge, and every student is an opportunity to make a difference. In Wayne, Nebraska, Kaylee Doms, KTIV News 4.
And if you missed that story tonight on KTIV News 4 at 6, it is on our website right now on KTIV.com. Lean and the Principal Recovery Network's next stop is to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida this fall. And again, to watch part 1 of this series and learn more about the convicted shooter, we have it online at KTIV.com.